the perfect workout for beginners. This has two functions. The first one is obviously to get you stronger and to build muscle. But the second one is also, because you're a beginner and you're likely to be untrained and not moving so well, it's going to help you to address some of these movement limitations that you might be experiencing at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to include some drills that are going to address some of these areas and common dysfunctions that a lot of you out there might be unknowingly experiencing. Now, just a quick disclaimer, this is not going to be the perfect workout for every single beginner out there. This is just an example of the type of program I may well write for you, with a few key principles in mind, including some remedial work, including some main lifts to target the biggest muscles in the body and to move with efficiency and control. Now, without further ado, let's get into the workout. So the first exercise we're going to do is a contralateral split squat. This is a great exercise that's going to train the lower body, but it's also going to help train that stacked rib cage that you may remember from that 90-90 breathing video. So let me just get straight into it. Now, for your stance, one foot slightly further forwards, one leg back, the back knee just behind the knee, and then that's probably going to give you a nice base for you to drive the knee down to the floor and up. So that's essentially what we're doing. Now you want to push into the front foot, but also the back foot too, because that's going to help you to work through your rec fem, which is this nice big long quads muscle here, okay? And then on this leg, you're going to be working primarily through the glutes. Now, if you find that you're slightly off balance, this is another reason why this exercise is good. It's actually normal to go down and be a bit more imbalanced, because then that means that you are generating some body awareness and you're figuring out where you need to go, whether it's a slight adjustment like this, to ensure that when you go down, you've got some balance, okay? So that's all part of the process. So what you're going to do now is, once you're in this position and you've done a couple of test reps, we're going to hold one dumbbell in the opposite hand. The reason why we do this now is because now the upper body has to work hard to be stable, because obviously if you weren't working hard to be stable, you'll fall over, all right? So subconsciously, you're now having to stabilize the rib cage and stabilize that over your hips. And then as you go down, knee goes down, and then we're up. And so you are now loading that movement pattern, which is going to help stimulate these muscles that we've talked about even more. Now, just another thing that I want you to think about when you go down, tension in the movement. So try and count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Softly touch the floor, explode up. 1, 2, 3, and up, okay? The reason why we want to slow that down is more just to teach you how that movement should be feeling, how to create tension through your body, because that's going to help you to move safely and efficiently. So the first move there is the contralateral split squat. So we've done a lower body and slightly unstable exercise. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do an upper body and a lot more of a stable movement. And the muscles that we're going to be training are the traps and the lats. So they're the nice big muscles on the back there that help you pull things into the body from a vertical and horizontal position. But what we're going to do is more of a horizontal row here. So we're doing a chest supported row. And the reason why we're doing a chest supported row, particularly as opposed to a bent over row, is because most people are quite weak in this position where they're bent over. And so what I don't want is your lower back to become the limiting factor in this movement, which is why we're going to be using a bench like this. So before you even get the dumbbells, I want you to get used to this position. So you just want to walk obviously into here as far as you can. And I like to have the nipples off the top of the bench, because that's going to make it a little bit less awkward. My body's pretty much straight, as you can tell, and I'm just thrusting the hips into the bench to create a counter force, all right? Now, once I'm here, assume I've got the dumbbells, I'm going to push also the chest into the bench, create a counter force as much as possible, and I'm pushing my toes right into the floor. So the whole body's in tension, and that's what we want to encourage in a lot of our movements. And then from here, I'm just going to pull my hands to the rib cage and then lower slightly back down, okay? Pulling it to the rib cage is going to help to activate the lower traps a little bit more as well, which are commonly untrained in most individuals, and that's going to help you to keep the shoulders down, and is a good postural exercise for you guys as well, whilst also being a great strength exercise for building up the muscles around the back. Typically, this is how I'd go through a chest supported row. I'd start with the dumbbells already. There we go. I'll start with the dumbbells already by my side, and then I'll walk all the way into the bench as high up as I can go. Then I'm going to lie down and get into position, toes into the floor, thrusting the hips down, hands hanging down, and then from there I'm going to do that rowing position where I'm pulling the hands just below the rib cage, squeeze, and then down. So what I want you to do here, guys, is pull all the way up nice and quickly, and then lower, 1, 2, 3, to keep that control before you go up again nice and quickly, and then lower, 2, 3, okay? And you can even hold for a couple of seconds at the top just to feel the shoulder blades squeeze together, because that is also one of the things that we're looking for when we're performing a rowing movement. So the next move we're going to do is a landmine press, and the reason why we're doing this is obviously we want to be working through the shoulders here, but because you can't go strictly vertical with this, this is going to be handy for some of you guys who can't actually get strict overhead range yet. So this is going to help us to work towards that. And also using that landmine is going to help you to use some muscles that typically recruit and stabilize the shoulder blade. But not only that, guys, it's actually going to get your shoulder blade moving nicely as well, particularly as we're going to be doing this on just one side. So without further ado, what we do here is we go into a nice kneeling position. Foot nice and wide, so you've got a good stable base. Pick this up, and then the end of the barbell should almost be touching the shoulder, and then from here, keep your elbow wedged into the rib cage. And then you're just going to fully extend, so drive the hands forwards. And as you can see, you've not gone overhead, but you still are training the deltoids here, which is very useful before you go back down. Now, as you get more proficient with this exercise, you're going to be able to, as you're developing some vertical pushing force and some vertical pushing skill, and probably some range as well, we're going to be able to progress this movement. But for now, this is going to be a great exercise for you guys who are beginners. Now, I just want to drill this home again, control and efficiency. So push it directly forwards with the elbow in, lower for a nice 1, 2, 3 by driving the elbow back down, and then up again. Elbow comes back down to the rib cage every time. So the next move, incline bicep curl. Now, a lot of us typically don't move into an extended position of the shoulder too much, and also we're typically going to be weak in this position. So we want to get strong in this position. Also, most of us being guys, we want to train our arms. And so we're going to kill two birds with one stone here by doing some remedial work through that extension movement, whilst also training the biceps. And that is exactly what, if you see me just hold that position and go down, that's what the incline bicep curl does. And so that's like going to be our next movement. So you won't need dumbbells that are too heavy for this. Oh, hold on. Let me say again. So you won't need dumbbells that are too heavy for this, but this is how I want you to perform the movement. So nice tight grip on the dumbbells, take a seat, lie down. Try and create a counter force against the bench. So push your back into the bench, drive the shoulder blades right down, and we're in this extended position. Pull the heels into the floor, and then I'm holding this in a hammer position, and then I'm just going to come as high up as I can, momentary squeeze, lower, nice and slowly, okay? Again, we're going for nice controlled movements. So it's 1, 2, 3 before we explode up, 1, 2, 3, and the whole time I'm just pushing myself against the bench as much as possible. So the move that we're going to do now is a prone Y raise. And what this move is going to do is going to allow the shoulder blades to fully depress and descend, and that's going to target your lower traps more, which typically aren't trained so much. So this is going to be a great move for you guys to do. So how we're going to do this, I'll show you without the dumbbells first, is just like in the chest supported row, walk all the way in, push yourself right into the bench, toes right into the floor, hands in front. And then you're just going to allow the thumbs to drive away and up as far as they can go before they come back down. Now, as you can see, the rear delts, because they're on top, they're going to be the muscle that's contracting the most in the deltoids. But also, as I said, the shoulder blades are being forced down in this position too, and that's really stimulating the lower traps, which is going to be perfect movement for you as you're exploring getting into an overhead range, which is going to be a range that we need to develop as we progress through our programs. And it's also a key postural muscle for us to be training as well. So if I show you with dumbbells, I would not go heavy with dumbbells at all. I'd go nice and light. I'm going to get myself on the bench. I'm going to turn the thumbs out slightly, and then from here, with my chest extended, extending the chest allows your shoulder blades to actually already start to move down the back. So you're setting yourself up nicely to get some big depression in the shoulders, and obviously the rear deltoids are working here too as you do this movement. So hopefully you found that useful. Please drop me a comment if there are any more versions of these workouts that you would like to see, as there are many different exercises that I can implement. And I only just scratched the surface of some of the remedial work that we could be doing, as well as some of the strength work that we could be doing as beginners. Check the rep scheme down below, give this workout a go, let me know how you get on, and I'll see you in the next video.